What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another London POV. We're starting off in today's video where we left off in the last video, and that is in Leicester Square, before exploring some of the surrounding areas and then making our way over to Trafalgar Square at the end of this video. I've managed to get some of my favourite shots from the walk there, so make sure you stick around for those. As always, today I'm shooting with my trusty Fujifilm X-S10, and I've actually switched over my lens to the Viltrox 56mm f1.7 for this video. Walking up here, I had to capture a quick photo of this bike. I really liked the way that the light was hitting it in the alleyway, and it kind of had this really cool glow to it from the way that the sun was hitting it. But while I was taking it, I noticed this mirror on this door here, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to use it as a frame to capture people walking on the opposite side of the street with that sign in the background. Some of those shots were quite cool in the way that the people were looking over and they got the facial expressions, obviously trying to probably work out what I was doing. As I'm walking about, I'm just looking for pockets of light or anywhere where there's really interesting light, because without light there is no photography. So as I'm walking about, I'm scanning my locations, scanning my surroundings, just trying to look for where the lights may be cutting through buildings, lighting up a particular section of an alleyway, anything like that just might give an extra layer or extra depth to an image. I think it was probably around 10 o'clock in the morning at this point, so the sun's actually coming out quite strong, especially down some of those alleyways, and it's creating some really cool strong shadows. When we actually eventually get to Trafalgar Square, the lighting up there was absolutely incredible. It was so open, but because of the way that the buildings were and the structures around, there were some really cool pockets of light that were hitting it. One thing that you can do to get a little bit more creative with your street photography, in a similar manner that we did earlier with the reflections in that door, in that mirror, is using mirrors on things like this scooter here to capture the reflections of the surroundings. So you're kind of using that as a window to the environment, if you will. As I'm walking down here, you can start to see the lighting that I was on about. Everything we're coming up to is backlit, and it's creating this really cool depth to the people and the subjects walking around. So the way that the light's hitting them, you're getting this glow, you're getting the strong shadows, and it creates for a really nice image, in my opinion. Quickly trying to make use of those shadows as I'm walking down, getting a few shots of people's feet walking past with those shadows on the ground. I did hang out here a little bit just to try and get some more shadows, but in typical fashion, as I was waiting, it just seemed to, like, all the people just seemed to disappear. So I decided to move on, and I wasn't going to linger around as those other places I wanted to get to. As I've been walking down here, I kind of noticed a few runners coming past, and I'd not realised it was coming up to the London Marathon time. So as I was coming around here, I decided to try and crouch down, get low, and try if I can create some depth in the shots using maybe some of the people that were walking or that were closer to the camera as frames for people walking or running in the distance, maybe some bikes. And this one here turned out really cool, and to be honest, the series here, I really like the depth that this gentleman crossing the road added. As well as this one here with the two subjects walking across the frame, framing that lady in the distance. It just adds a new level, a new depth by framing and using those elements of layers in your images. It creates for a more interesting image. So we finally made it towards Trafalgar Square, and as I mentioned earlier, the lighting here was absolutely incredible. some of the subjects that were around, the way that the light was hitting them, trying to position myself so they were all backlit or kind of lit at a 45-degree angle. That way you just get a bit of wraparound light, creating a bit more of a three-dimensional look to the subjects, opposed to lighting them square on where they would appear quite flat. So I was just trying to use my angles, use the lighting to my advantage to try and create that interest and that depth to the shots. I kind of touched on this one in my previous video, and it's the difference that a split second in an image can make. So here we've got this gent surrounded by a load of people, but a few seconds later, just taking a second to take the shot, and then it was completely clear around him. And it just goes to show that timing your shots can make a massive difference to the way that they appear. Let me know in the comments what your go-to focal length is at the moment. I've touched on in the past that I've been recently been enjoying shooting in sequences or finding sequences in my shots. And here I'd noticed the three people sat on the bench in the distance, and I was trying to wait for a moment where I could capture somebody dividing each of the people sitting with somebody standing, and I think I managed to get it just about with that shot. What are your favourite conditions to shoot in? Let me know in the comments below. As I've made my way back up to the top, I'd seen this gent vaping. It does add something to an image, especially when you can capture them exhaling and the smoke all interacting with the face and wrapping around them, the way that it definitely creates more of a cinematic image, for want of a better expression, because it captures that moment. So after I got a couple from the side here, I kind of moved around to the front to try and get somewhere you could possibly see Big Ben in the background. So I kind of made my way round to the front to kind of reposition myself, and the difference that can make to the shots. So like if you compare the shots we got from the other side to this side, the difference is striking. Here's another quick tip. While you're out shooting, change your focus point from time to time. So you don't always have to focus on the subject and the people. You can actually focus on what they're looking at. So here, I'm just trying to focus on this lady taking some photos of Big Ben in the distance. But in the next shot, you can see that I've actually focused on Big Ben in the distance. And the difference that adds to the narrative of the image is massive. And you as the photographer has that option to make that choices to be what it is that you want people to be interested in, what part of the image you want them to focus on. So by using the depth and being a bit creative with that depth of field and altering what you're focusing on, you can tell a completely different story with your images. If you're ever out and about and there's nothing to shoot, there's always pigeons somewhere, so make use of them. They always make for some dynamic shots, and it tells part of the story of the journey that you were on. Here, I thought it'd be kind of cool to use this leading line of the stairs or the rails to lead down to the guard at the bottom. I couldn't quite get my framing right on this shot, in all honesty. I still think it worked out all right, but yeah, the perspective of it was a little weird, and I think where we were stood, the leading line didn't, it kind of felt a bit wonky, but I still think it turned out quite nice, so. That's it for today's walk around London. Hope you've enjoyed tagging along. Drop a comment, hit a like if you've enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more street photography and photo walks. Next time, we'll be back hitting the streets of London for some more urban scenes, so don't miss it. And with all that said and done, I'll catch you in the next one.